All right, let's talk about something that's a huge deal, a really thorny question at the intersection of faith and finance, banking in the Muslim world. We're going to break down one source's really compelling and, yeah, pretty controversial argument. Let's dive right in.
So here's the big question, right? Are bank loans a form of forbidden riba? I mean, the concept of riba, or usury, is a huge no-no in Islam. And modern banks, well, they're all about interest-based loans. So it seems like a pretty clear conflict. But is it really that simple?
And then, bam, our source material just comes right out and says it. Banks are permissible. Whoa, that flies in the face of what a lot of people believe. So how on earth did they get to that conclusion? That's exactly what we're going to unpack.
Okay, so to get your head around this perspective, you have to follow a very particular train of thought. This argument doesn't start with, interest rates or financial contracts. Nope, it starts with a promise from God himself.
The starting point here is massive. The source basically says, hey, God promises to wage war on riba. Now think about it. Banks have been around for centuries. If this whole global system was really built on forbidden riba, wouldn't God's war have, destroyed it by now? The fact that it's still standing, the source suggests, means maybe, just maybe, we've got the definition of riba wrong.
And that right there, that's the absolute core of this whole thing. To even begin to follow the argument, we have to get super clear on the very precise definition of riba this source is using, because it's not just any increase on a loan. Here it is. According to this interpretation, forbidden riba happens when you have a simultaneous variable increase in two things at once, the money and the time. So it's not just about paying back more than you borrowed. It's about a situation where both the debt and the deadline can stretch out and grow together, completely out of control. And this makes it crystal clear. Look at the left side. That's the source's idea of forbidden riba. Your debt just keeps growing. 1,000 becomes 2,000, then 3,000. It's a spiral. But on the right, that's a typical bank loan. It's a deal. It's a contract. You borrow 1,000, you agree to pay back 1,100 in a year. Everything is locked in from day one. See the difference? There's no out-of-control growth. Okay, now here is where things get really interesting. The source does something clever. It splits the transaction in two and looks at it from both sides, from the bank's point of view and from yours, the client's.
But wait a second, you're probably thinking, an increase is an increase. Even if the contract is fixed, I'm still paying back more money over time. That's a great point, and the source actually tackles this head-on by looking at the bank's own paperwork.
So, according to the source, the way the bank writes its own terms and conditions, it matters a lot. If a bank frames its interest as increasing, like it could just keep going up and up, that creates what the source calls a suspicion of riba. But if they frame it the other way, that suspicion is gone. It's all about how the bank itself presents the deal.
And here's the kicker. The source says that whole issue, that suspicion of riba, is the bank's responsibility. It's their problem, their legal and accounting mess to sort out. It's not a burden that falls on you, the customer.
Why? Because from your perspective as the client, you don't care about their internal framing. You care about the contract you're signing. And that contract? It's fixed. It's set in stone. Let's look at exactly what that means.
For you, the person taking the loan, it's simple. You've got a fixed amount, you've got a fixed deadline. There's no crazy, simultaneous, out-of-control increase in both the money and the time. So if we stick to the source's very specific definition, the conclusion is, for the client, the deal is permissible.
All right, so after that deep dive, you'd probably think the takeaway is great, go get a loan, right? But no, the source pulls a complete 180 with its final piece of advice, and it's not what you expect at all.
This is it, the powerful final word. After explaining why a bank loan might be permissible for you, the source then says, just don't do it. The entire argument shifts from what is allowed to what is wise. And the ultimate solution isn't found in a bank, but in your own habits.
So the practical path forward is simple to understand, but, not so easy to do. First, make saving your #1 priority the second you get paid. Second, actively find ways to cut back. And third, over time, you'll see you just don't need loans anymore. By doing this, the whole debate about banks becomes kind of irrelevant because you've built your own financial freedom.
And that's really what we're left with. It's a fascinating journey, right? We went through this complex argument about why banking might be permissible, only to land on a message that's all about financial independence.
It suggests that maybe the most robust solution, both practically and spiritually, is one where you rely not on institutions, but on your own discipline, leaving you in a place where you don't even have to ask the question.